I am pleased to welcome Ms. Petrider Paul, an African Union Youth Ambassador, to the podium to offer her keynote remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Montessor. So my name is Petrider Paul, and the African Union Youth Advisory Council, recently appointed in 2018 by His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, the African Union Commission chairperson, working with the AU Youth Envoy. I represent the East African region. The Advisory Council consists of about 9 members who represents the 5 regions of Africa. As to start, I'd like to take us back to the last concluded 33rd African Union Summit, whereby during the summit, on the sidelines of the summit, we had a high-level dialogue on gender equality, and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau committed to further support the AU on gender equality promotion, which was a key milestone for us and for the AU in general. I'd like to also share the fact that CRV systems need to focus on marriage and death registrations, whereby key stakeholders should partner with young people to further their agenda, because this later on limits issues like land ownership and further perpetuates child marriages, because we have a lot of children, especially if I trace it back home from my experiences, a lot of children and young people who do not have access to birth registrations, and even if they do, they're quite expensive, and they'd rather just continue living their day-to-day life without having a birth certificate, because it's quite costful for a normal livelihood and a house community to afford for their children. Another key point I would like to share is how can we mobilize the older generation to ensure that young people have a seat at the table, not only being given a seat, but a platform to inform. They're harnessing the power of youth, but this conference can be the starting point. So I'd like each one of you stakeholders who are here today to commit or just to help inform the youth voices within your programs, within your work, within your forum, and hear from the young people what they're working on, and so that they can be able to share experiences. Yes, sometimes youth can be seen as difficult, sometimes youth can be seen as having crazy ideas, but sometimes those crazy ideas can be mentored and further grown to something that can be more advanced to bring about change in our communities. My last point will be focusing on how do we build intergenerational dialogues, having youth and older people be part of the table to inform each other on best strategies, passing on the baton to the young generation so that they can be the leaders of today and obviously of tomorrow. This has been quite a big experience for I and also my fellow youth advisory, including the AU Youth Envoy, whom we provide advice to, whereby we've currently been doing a lot of intergenerational dialogue. Last year we did an intergenerational dialogue on women and gender with His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, who's the global champion for youth in Africa. So this was something, it was actually a good momentum for us to actually have key leaders in the audience, in that platform where they can be able to mentor young people and grow within the stages of life that you're transiting the message. Because at the current stage, we have a lot of young people who do not have enough research data, who do not have enough information. We have the few fortunate who get the platform to share and speak, and the majority who still do not have access to this information. How can we pull them on board? How can we bring them on board? How can stakeholders better include the young people to help disseminate the information? Young people are at your disposal. They're available to volunteer their time, their effort, and their spirit to do what matters for them most. I personally volunteered for almost like 6 years without pay when I started my gender work, and it was because it was something I was passionate about. It was something I wanted to drive change in my community, and everything later on fell into place, working with different stakeholders, driving about change, and even getting a key role at the African Union Commission. Finally, I would like to thank Open Data, IDRC, and UNFPA for their unwavering support to the youth, and also to be able to give a platform, which obviously I have a lot of audiences, fellow young people back home in different countries who are watching, and most of the ideas that I shared here are basically through their collection of ideas that I shared online, so that I can collect what do they really want. How can stakeholders invest in young people? These are the voices of the young people that they want. They want intergenerational dialogues. They want to be included in the processes of research, data collection, and also be able to support their work to advance change. Thank you.